Hey everybody, that metal intro should be in no way an indicator of what you will find on my channel, but it's going to be my Fireside Chat intro. So welcome. My name is Margaret Pinard. You are on my channel. Welcome to Booktube and AuthorTube tonight. We have a Fireside Chat, which is a Friday evening that I set aside once a month, usually, to interview a special guest who is a book person, a writer person, sometimes both. And we do some creative exercises to refill the creative well, and you get to hear a little bit about what the creative guest is doing. So without further ado, let me welcome Nicole Pierman to my channel. Welcome, Nicole.
Hello, everyone.
Yes. And to start out, is it cold where you are? Are you glad for a nice crackling fire behind you?
Have I gone out lately? I don't remember. Let's check the weather because I have no idea. Oh, it's 50. But cloudy. That's better than it has been lately. I've kind of blacked out that whole hail, snow, rain, hail, rain, snow that happened last week. I was very confused. So I'm happy that it's 50 degrees on a Friday now.
Good. Those are two good things. Yes.
Yeah.
It's 66 where I am and a Friday. So two good things. So welcome everybody. Nicole's here. We're going to work on whips. So works in progress. We're both writers. Nicole, can you tell us a little bit about your channel, what people will find there? I know there's lots of reviews, and maybe give a little clarification on your pen names.
Yeah, I'm like 90% Booktube and 10% AuthorTube because I'm pretty all over the place. So I don't really think I can say with much certainty that you should do the things that I do. I don't know. Well, actually, there are some things like, themes, I would say, where it's like, what are your goals? Pivot, have fun.
I like those.
Which sometimes you might not get from other AuthorTube channels where like they're very strict. Right. I'm not. I'm just winging it sometimes. And really the pen name is new-ish. Well, yeah, less than a year. It's new. I'm going to go with that. But my name is Nicole Pierman and then the pen name is Nicole Rona, but the pen name only has urban fantasy. So all things urban fantasy, and then everything else is Nicole Pierman. And I just did not want to have urban fantasy take over the other books.
Right.
Under Nicole
Pierman.
You
want to be overwhelmed with the blessing of the urban fantasy fandom, taking over. I get it.
Well, I could probably write like 20 plus books at this point, just urban fantasy, and then everything else would be pushed down or to the side, or the algorithm would be confused, and it's just like, separate those. Yeah. But
that's good.
I don't hide it, of course. So it's not like I need to hide these things. No, I did it for the algorithm.
Yeah, smart. And we'll talk about what you're not hiding in just a second. I wanted to say hello to the chat. We've got Leslie, happy Friday, concurring. Eloise Barr, happy Friday. Jocelyn Carter, howdy friend. We're partying with the like button. Oh, Eloise says, glad I missed that rain, snow. Yeah, me too. I'll tell you just a snippet of a teaser. I drove 11 hours a couple days ago and I lost a windshield wiper in the middle of a rainstorm. And now I know that you should put a sock on the windshield wiper so at least you have something and you won't die on the road. But I was happy to make it to my destination alive.
No.
Here, hit the like button and high five the like button too. Thank you, friends. Thanks for being here to watch. Okay, so urban fantasy. I assume if your book coming out has fairies in the title, it is a fantasy. Tell us about Murderous Fairies.
Oh yeah, Murderous Fairies is the second book in the Midnight Detective Agency. The first book is Obsidian Murders, that's been out for more than 5 months, but maybe less.
Forever, right? But you're like,
I know.
Oh yeah, 5 months.
Yeah. And the first book is set in Bethesda, Maryland, right outside DC, and then Murderous Fairies is set in Santa Fe. So basically, it's going to be 6 books unless I decide to make it 2 more, and that's like a hint. I probably will, because I have 2 other ideas that I just can't see any other characters do. So it's going to be Tessa and Bloodsworth, her vampiric detective friend. But Murderous Fairies is set in Santa Fe because there have been 14 dead fairies within a short period of time, and that's very bizarre. Not just because there's 14 dead fairies, but it's in the desert, and you see that the fairies are woodland creatures, so it does not make sense. It does not make any sense. So we got to call in the big shots, which would be Tessa and Bloodsworth.
Nice. And I don't think I've heard the word in adjective form often enough, but vampiric. I like it because it's a vampire and it's got pyrrhic, like a pyrrhic victory, which that's kind of fun. I like it. Oh, nice. So I've got some questions for you, but as I just had on the screen, feel free to write in if the audience members watching live have a question. The first one is about, when did you start publishing? And do you feel like you've been through phases? What do you think has like guided your publishing journey?
Well, technically the first published book is Alpha Beta Poetry. That was in 2014, right? Not really right after, but around the time I graduated from community college, after I did a Poetry 101 class. And Alpha Beta Poetry is alliteration poetry, and it's really short. And then I didn't forget. I just didn't do it. I didn't do anything else until for I think like 2021. And then I released the other 3 chat books, and then I released A Patriot's Tale, which is historical fiction, and it's my first ever novel. And then came Danu's Curse, which is the Irish fantasy, and then came The Two Foxes, which is light historical fantasy. That actually was just under a year ago for The Two Foxes, and that chunk is under Nicole Pierman. And then took a little bit of time trying to figure out stuff for the pen name. I thought it was more complicated. It wasn't. It was not complicated. I was just freaking out for no reason. And then
I can do that too. Don't worry. You're not.
Yeah. And then end of last year, I published Obsidian Murders. So there was a huge also break between Alpha Beta Poetry and A Patriot's Tale because I was on Wattpad for a few years, and I was a Wattpad star for a while, and I won a Waddy for under historical fiction for A Patriot's Tale out of, I don't remember, it was probably thousands of books. But then there was some weirdness, drama, just not healthy environments going on Wattpad and Twitter simultaneously. So I got rid of both of them. And I was like, yeah, I'm self-publishing because I tried to do traditionally, like the traditional published road, but they did not want my books because they didn't know how to market them. So I went with my gut and went with indie, and it's been really fun so far, learning a lot, though I need to learn to take more breaks. But I think that's a kind of universal indie thing, like we have to do all the things, so then we do too many of the things and we grow very tired.
Vaguely familiar. Yes. Okay, so what about these 3? I'm distilling here. We've got poetry era, which may come back. We've got historical fiction and like Irish myth, era, and we've got urban fantasy still with some Irish fantasy leftover era. Then you can continue all of them. But is there like different motivations that you felt at different times, and that's why you sort of shift into different gears? And do you think they'll come back? Or are you like progressing things?
No, it's just whatever pops into my mind. A lot of them were dreams, and so I just went with that. And then poetry was a lot of trauma therapy, minus alpha beta poetry and textual love. Paradise Found, which is one sentence brevity poetry, which used to be a big thing and now it's not. So like that's the one that no one really talks about, but it's still my baby. I was not able really to write longer poems in trauma therapy. So then I found out from like Tumblr a long time ago about these one sentence. Yeah, these one sentence poems, and I was like, okay, well, I'll try this because it's kind of like an assignment for homework for the trauma therapy, and I did that. And I wrote a lot about one-liners, and then I was brave enough to write full-on poems, and then really by 2020, 2021, I was like, you know, they could just sit there on my computer and nothing comes of it, or I can publish them and at least some people will get enjoyment out of it. And that's basically why I published those. I get
historical fiction because I have a special interest in that one.
The historical fiction one, that was, I want to read a book with a strong female character, and it, after watching, like, what was it, Mel Gibson's A Patriot, I'm like, this is not historically accurate. I can do better. As a teenager, I started
movies are a pretty low bar, so I will not say nay.
I can do better. I mean, as a 13-year-old watching it, I'm like,
oh my goodness.
I started at 13. It is not the same. I'll tell everyone right now, it is not the same book. I promise you it's not, but I did start it at 13, stopped at 18, went to college, then brought it back. And that's the one that won the Waddy in 2019, 2020, whatever that is. I don't even remember. I have like the pictures and the email screenshot, whatever, but I'm not on Wattpad anymore, so I've kind of info dumped those details. But it happened.
Somewhere. It's in the archives.
Yeah. Well, they deleted that information on their end, so I only have my end to prove that I did. But it's totally there.
Good deal. All right. Well, we're going to be working on our works in progress. So, did you want to give us a peek at what you're working on and like where you are in the process? And I'll do the same before we start our timer.
Yeah, let's see what I can do. I don't even know. It's been a long week. But I'm feeling it. But I'm glad if I get 50 words. I'm going to be like a Neil Gaiman, like 50 words and move on to the next day. Yeah. It's Midnight Murders, the third book in the urban fantasy mystery series. And how deep am I in? I don't even remember. Oh, I'm almost at 18,000 words. Look at that. I surprised myself. I don't remember. The last time I wrote was last Wednesday. I'm just chugging along. And we're currently at chapter 13. They've figured out some way into finding the murderous werewolves and one bobcat. There is a bobcat involved.
I just saw bobcats yesterday at the zoo with my family with little kids. So it's a zoo.
Yeah, well, bobcat shifter. But I was like, well, what does a bobcat sound like? And for a good hour, I was listening to bobcat screams. And my husband was like, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes, I'm doing writer research." Because I needed to know, because it's like there's the werewolves, but then there's this weird howling I don't understand, and like there's a paw print, and I'm like, I'm gonna go down the rabbit hole.
Oh my gosh. It's either writer research or primordial scream therapy.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? Okay. I'm trying to share your link to pre-order Murder Series, and it's giving me you can't share it. So let me hop over here and see if it'll do it in the other box.
Mm-hmm.
StreamYard being stupid. Okay, it did. There it is. It's in the chat. So you're working on the third in the series, and you can pre-order the second book. So, okay, and it's not showing back up in StreamYard. That's just lovely. So I can't highlight it. Okay. Sorry, it's in the chat. I'll just,
It is. Yeah.
Okay, so what am I working on? I am going to be working on my 1830s, 1840s series happening in Southwest Scotland outside of Glasgow. I came back with research, and we're going to be going over the book haul on Sunday. So that's my next step. If anyone's interested in I'm calling it my Great British Book Haul because, And so I came back with some better ideas for characters to build on, like people in real life that I can sort of model my sort of 3 secondary characters on. So I'm going to be doing some work on plotting and pacing for that whip. So that's what I'm going to get going on. And let me bring up timer. Let's see. I'm going to change the background so I don't have 2 fires, because then I feel like everyone's in California, and we don't want that. There we go.
Oh, nice.
Our little timer here. And change our view. There we go. Okay, so are you all set?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I will go ahead and press go, and we'll have 15 minutes, and we're just going to be working away on our whips. Anyone at home can also be working away along with us, but I will go ahead and mute myself so you can hear the crackling, and we'll see you in 15. Bam. There it is. There's your timer. All right. Back. Woo! How do we do?
Woo! Well, I got 172 words, and I painted my nails.
Painted your nails? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I am going between 4 different notebooks, as one does here. So I was looking at here where I've got like the 3 book plot outlines, very sketchily. I've got the book 1 a little bit more sketched out, and the people who I was assigning to be the character studies. All this, which I took with me on the trip, with like the 3 characters. So I've got actually different characters. The Dr. Philanthropist is going to be McFadgen. The once a weaver, now agent, I have to look up to see what his name was because I didn't put it here. And then the bookseller person who used to be an agent is Alexander Wilson. So I've got people who I'm modeling my characters on, and then I was like reformatting the pacing new notebook. So yeah, no words, just names and like slotting into place. But that was good for 15 minutes. That was focused.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Ooh-ah. So, if you're just joining us, we're here with Nicole Pierman. We're doing a fireside chat. Do you have a warm drink? I don't. I just had a cup of tea, so I just have my water to drink tonight. Do you have any comfy snacks?
No, I just have water. I'm trying to save room for the food upcoming at 6:30.
The party food?
Yeah, my husband decided to throw a party. I'm like, okay, when? It needs to be after a certain time because I've had this on my calendar for a while. But yeah, he's still cooking the food.
Nice.
And then I know one of my neighbors is bringing over cornbread. And then the other neighbor will probably bring something not related, but she doesn't like seafood. So maybe chips and guacamole just for herself. And then we eat all of the shrimp and crab and on the cob. Yeah.
That does sound like a party. Oh my god.
Yes.
That's nice. Okay, well, I've got some more questions for you. Did you have any questions you wanted to ask to like stir the pot for the fireside chat? I should give you an opportunity just in case, but no need.
No.
Okay, that's fine. That's really
I blanked out. I'm just gonna go with no.
So let's see. We did our first sprint. My next question was, how do you intentionally blend Booktube and AuthorTube on your channel? And you did answer this a little bit in your intro, because I know you do a lot of book reviews, because that's sort of something you can be sort of straightforward about. Whereas, as you were saying, the AuthorTube, the author journey kind of goes where it will. So,
yeah.
Do you have any specific like criteria for if you're going to do an AuthorTube kind of topic, or do you try to do one every so often, or what are your sort of internal guidelines for that blending of the two? I'm interested because there's not too many people that do both, so I'm curious.
Yeah, I just do a video whenever I feel like it, whenever it pops up. Like the last one was a live with my friend Thomas Beleza, which was like 2.5 hours long, and that was about handling feedback gracefully. I was like, because I was trying to come up with a title for it with him, and I was like, I'll just do it live. It was not something that I could plan out because there's just so much to say unless I do it in parts, but I'm like, I'm not doing this in parts, just go the whole 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
That was the last AuthorTube vibe video. The one before that was writing schedule. And that was really loose, like under 20 minutes. And it's like, here's what works for me, what has worked for other people, but you're going to have to honestly figure it out for yourself. Yeah. Because you can try to be like Stephen King, but like he writes full time, so he can write for 6 to 8 hours per day. Like that's going to be way different than
I don't know
the
people
vast
that
majority.
Yeah, if you have the time
Yeah.
to. I don't know many people that actually do that. Okay, so I changed the font size on my window, which made visible more comments. So I just wanted to, now that I can see them, I can actually access and say, hey, Andy, welcome. Nice to see you. Hey, Devin, thanks for showing up. Devin Gamble Clark. We were talking earlier today, so it's lovely to see you here. Andy's liking the new notebooks. Always a popular perennial subject with authors. Gotta love it. What about tags? Because I feel like when you get tagged, it's just a bunch of questions that you can often like make about author stuff, or you can make about book stuff. Do you ever sort of like tweak those? I do all the time.
If it's a book related, then I'll sometimes mention one of my books if it fits. But then other than that, it's just kind of, just slide that in. Like no, wait. I did that with one tag. Oh, it was the Girl Scout cookie tag.
Oh yeah.
I did too many tags lately.
Right.
I was like, which one? The Girl Scout cookie tag. I said the two.
So that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that I added the 2 foxes because it was, which book do you like that blends 2 genres? I'm like, historical and fantasy. Yay! But I don't try to like go on too. Well, I don't try and take up a huge amount of time just talking about my books within tags, because I'm sure people will drop off. So I just keep it as is, like it's normal. I think, at least for me and how I'm comfortable, like 90% Booktube, 10% AuthorTube, to make it like I'm not trying to sell you a product every single time I open my mouth. Yeah. Because at a certain point, it's not fun. It gets annoying, and I don't want to be annoying.
Fun.
Yeah.
That's okay. We're recommended to do it, so I do it every so often. Yeah, historical fiction. I had a question about the genre thing, didn't I? No, I've got 2 more questions. So one of them was about either an author artifact or a dream author event, whichever one comes to your mind more easily. So I have had panels before where I ask authors about an artifact, like what's a physical thing that is like an artifact of your author journey, which is kind of cool, or what is your dream author event if you've spent time envisioning like what you would love to see happen, or that has happened at a launch or just an event, like a success marker. Either one.
I think collecting all of my books in paperback form is really great because I have it on my shelf. It's hidden by the chair. I should probably like move them around, but they're in a very nice spot. So, I think that's like every single publishing day I either have the book already, because I usually release the paperback early to get the book.
Okay.
Or it comes, a few days later, and that's always like it rings out the publishing day or week. And it's nice to have, not just for like pictures, but just to have on the shelf for me. And as I pass it by, I'm like, what's up? I see all of you lined up. You just keep on piling up. I just keep going.
Person? Like, do you have collections of other things, or is it just books?
I love mugs.
Mugs?
Yeah,
okay.
Boxes. Yeah.
Nice.
Mugs, boxes, books.
Okay. I'm like looking that are there any of those like DVDs or videos, or they're all books? Because I can't tell at this point.
Those all books, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Starting from middle school all the way up. And then there's some like on the bottom you can't see that are my husband's. They don't fit on his bookshelf because it's overrun by all his books now.
Okay.
But
partner and friend. I like it.
Yeah. There's on the bottom, you can't really see the comic books. I read like a few Deadpools of his, but I'm just not a comic book person.
Yeah.
Even though I love Deadpool.
Yeah.
But he can't fit his comic books on his shelf, so I get them.
That's crazy because comic books are thin, so that means he has a ton.
Yeah. Well, and then he also like he's waited a long time and then got them in like those big volumes.
Yeah. That's smart.
Yeah. I'm just gonna read through them if you don't mind heavy books, which he doesn't, but those are chunky. They gotta be on the bottom because I'm also in like an earthquake state. So you gotta put the really thick ones on the bottom.
Wait,
work your way up. Washington.
You're in Washington State? I must have done that at some point and then forgot. Okay, so you're waiting for the big one to just collapse everything as well, right?
Yeah. Or one of the volcanoes going off.
Yeah, I'm glad like that already happened in my area.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Do you have any well, I don't know. I've heard some authors say that they don't collect their physical books, but do you have a copy of all your books?
Oh no, I have a copy of all my books. Yeah. I have multiple copies except for one. One I only have one because I've had to sell all the others. I need my reader copy.
Yeah.
And people are waiting on me to re-release the paperback version. And right now it's only on Amazon, so I'm behind on getting them out. So I apologize. But that is just my least favorite thing to do right now is wrestle with draft to digital and formatting. So that is the problem. Yeah, right now I'm down in California spending time with my family, hence the different background and like, you know, out of touchness on Instagram, etc. But
well, it's good to decompress.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to do the book haul on Sunday and like keep at least a little bit of a regular schedule.
Yeah.
I've had some really fun artifacts, and I had a panel that talked about the Dream Author event, so that was fun. I have one more sprint and one more question. Why don't we do our second sprint for 5 minutes? Are you going to go back to the same place in the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to get it down at this point. I need to not be a perfectionist because, of course, you can go back and feel stuff, Nicole. It's the first draft. But I have to continually remind my brain, no, you don't need to do all the things and be perfect. So I'm just like clickety-clack on my new rainbow keyboard. It's also really exciting because I get to see the lights.
Nice. I like that. Okay. Cool.
Maybe it'll help motivate me to just keep going and not self-edit.
Yeah. Like draw your attention back. You know, when it wanders off, like they say in yoga, welcome it back, observe, let it go, think back to like the calm. Yeah, I like it. Okay, so I'll put the timer up. Timer is up with our nice crackling fireplace. I'll put the scroller up with the correct time, and we'll be just about ending on 6 o'clock hour. So perfect. And I'll mute myself so that you don't have to hear me when we start. timer should be running out about now. There we go. Perfect timing. How do we do?
Oh, am I at, let's see, 653 words.
Yay! For the session? Total?
Yeah. Wow.
Nice.
How did you do?
So I basically I realized what I need to do is read what I wrote in November, because I'm getting further and further away from remembering what the details are that I'll need to change. So I was rewriting the plot going, this is not what I wrote, but I don't remember what I wrote anymore. So, yeah. I'm trying to change a plot from 1836-7-8 to 1831-3. And the world does different things in that time period. So I'm like, what can I use as the same backdrop events to have similar effects in a different time period? And my world knowledge is sharper because of the research, but the draft that I'm trying to alter in my head is getting fuzzier and fuzzier. So
yeah,
homework, and the homework is to read my web. I'm basically
sometimes you gotta go back.
Yeah,
so you're like, what did I do?
Yeah, so that's where I am. I'm basically I'm at the undoing work phase, but it's all good. It's all good. I'm excited. So we're gonna be wrapping up because Nicole has a party and I have a family dinner, and we're both very excited about those because they indicate life, and authors need life. Yes, need lives outside of work. We had just Eva come in, so I wanted to say hello. She caught my verbal flub, so thanks for pointing that out. Nicole, where will people be able to find you next? What's your next planned event or thing, or thing you want people to know about?
I think my next scheduled video is on the 11th, and that's a tag video. I just I usually upload on Mondays, but then sometimes I don't. Okay. I'm going to try and be a little more chill for this month because of that book release. It's kind of tired me out. I'm just really tired. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I don't really have that much planned other than I do hang out a lot on Goodreads and Facebook, and then also on YouTube. So if you just type in Nicole Pierman, all of that pops up. Because I did some great SEO. I don't know how, but I did it.
Nice. Can't repeat it. All right, great. Well, that's very helpful. Well, speaking of hanging out on YouTube, I checked this morning and I am 111 hours away from monetization. So, if you can watch a backlist video, you'll really be helping me achieve my goal of 3.5 years. Is so close. I can taste it.
So yummy.
So that's what's happening in my deer in the headlights, or in my headlights vision of the next thing to do. Other than that, so we'll find you at your video on Monday. My next video will be Sunday at my regular time of noon Pacific, and that's going to be my Great British Book Haul. So books I brought back from London and Scotland, then tune in Sunday at noon. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here, Nicole. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone out there. I hope you got a little bit of creative well filled with water of life, whiskey. Wait, how did I get to whiskey?
Oh, yeah. No, it's both. It counts. It's totally fine.
Yeah. So thank you for being here, and drop a suggested creative well refill technique of your own if you feel like it. And we'll see you next time on both of our channels. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.